story as to why some people say no later, but go ahead, start.
Okay. Advantage 1 is the licensor. Current core precedent deprives trademark owners of right to reject contracts and make receipt because of quality control requirements is James 20. Section 365 empowers editor to reject contract position settled with the trademark license law licensee to continue using the mark after rejection deprived editors the ability to reject licenses lies in the QTPC requirements to obligate licensors to exert actual control over the quality if the donor licensor rejects the license and identifies the exert control phase claims any licensing amendment render trademark worthless solution only possible with congressional intervention. A lack of legislative clarity causes surface risking universal trademarks become worthless through naked licensing claims as James 20. Quality must be met when licensed the right to use the brand versus naked licensing begins to fail to ensure product does not mislead. A successful claim resulting in trademark being abandoned and then effect does not define quality or control. Majority of courts ask whether licensor exerted control and clear how much courts expect licensor sufficient control. Continually further standard number of courts and quality United Circuit refuse on similar grounds of feature or consistent quality interpretation of QC. Standard reduces the formality of their use of rejection for purpose of free itself from obligations connected to actual control because control requires performance law and trademark licensee to retain rights after a rejection or deprived of that license rejection power and that are prevented from doing so. Courts argue that language is clear would be inappropriate to follow legislative histories and the courts can find out the solution of language declared judicial inquiry is complete and Congress and orderly, but it must follow rejection powers key. This article makes Chapter 11 bankruptcy organization impossible while destroying valuable brands as well in 13. A key element of reorganization involved reduction of agreements, managing of performing location, termination, operation, quality reduction, unable to reject agreements without losing QT and enabling the licensee to retain benefits to may use marks for QT by the general license rejection production of the reorganization for licensors and risk reduction of valuable brands. A mere threat of naked licensing and uniquely hurts reorganization. That's Gethsemane 21. Lack of adequate QT resolve and licensure disagreement licensure choice between expanding research and risk and loss of the value class and naked licensing made the claim company less valuable reorganization difficult to trademark specific spending funds to maintain quality creates difficulties or with less money distributed creditors is likely to approve the plan to get a first start in scenario when it's collapse trademarks are specifically key for the commercial real estate market. That's Vital Law 24. IB consequential CRA transaction business become more aligned and running business and ensure they license and trademarks control for business represent their brand identity. Domestic bank defaults are incoming and unavoidable in the CRE sector. That's Barn 24. CRA under pressure important in the U.S. rules because quality and property market multiple debt over the history of loan default rates unmanageable. CRA substantial share of the banking system placement and train revenue hardworking contributed to short service also in office building building by defaults and millions of cost revenue erosion produces policies held up those bank also called reverse person CRA market country emerging pre-IT for prompting and trouble looking bankruptcy comprehensive restructuring saw exit deterioration assignment merge justice failures from doing in the person in the heavier working the pattern 40% of loans negative equity high loan balances loan default their cost level turn to owner GFC stress trigger wave of failures among lenders who had an asset value significantly eroded ability to withstand credit events for substantial side of bank Chapter 11 reorganization is necessary to recover from debt defaults. That's lesson 12. Chapter 11 revive the economy largely by default and bankruptcy done any being structuring on the last into Chapter 11 global horizontal economy does inside not qualify them and the property and drag down 15 of investment with much debt than that defaulted into management liquidation of property values evolved and rebound in Chapter 11 legal parts evolved and adopting increasing experience making restructuring more efficient. Economic decline causes conflict initiation and global hotspots for the escalation. That's Chapter 24. System provides a small capacity to input a resilient engine for vulnerabilities and put down to the most central security connection with the other risk isolation. Real time on information sparking instability power 7. Eroding articles, conflict containment, long term shift, economic fragility, contributed conflict continued visually running the world, major war interest, conflict involving new system, research, and escalation, process, conflict, heat up, include blocking delivery, customer, career, manufacturer, fuel, and its control, accelerating, and emotion, temporary power, protecting, fate, creating power, vacuum scenario. 2 is healthcare, brand destruction kills healthcare, that's Discussion 15. Names, logos, slogan, prohibited in healthcare, valuable representing establish goodwill, hospital, well-known names, security, their trademark upon establishing goodwill, valuable trademarks, engineering, increasing $40 billion cockroaches, are finding trademarks, lost in perpetuity, business, include the brand service, protected the weak, healthcare industry, and Bolden's bioterror, credible, one, 14. Doesn't die to demonstrate criticality of public health reducer the increase in national security due to bacteria will be focused in the robust health sector has long been known to reduce vulnerability of around for function of use of public health service a powerful deterrent. Bioterror causes extinction and is likely insufficient healthcare insurance coverage for great on the response efforts appears in 17. Paragraphs are credit entries used by agent technology to make power and make this illegal and viruses have potential for more than nuclear weapons or strong because the different needs and nations could be stolen, created, collected, and equal and funding more terrorists and terminated information law. Regardless of infect themselves and travel help this system and development and future work down healthcare system overall disease sparks overreaction to spiral into nuclear, biological, and chemical war. This is Suzuki 21. Pandemics has seen for wars and forever to speed due to mobility weapons have been winning acceleration in hard speeds from aggressive actions to the system out of movement by new chemical multiverse increase our play of pandemic really are for the opportunity for showing as a cover or is uncertain but the health system and health cascade risk of war. Advantage 2 is the licensee. Giving holds existing clarity and applicability to courts, licensors, and licensees is Part 20. The court did not decide every licensee the right to continue using martial post production and unclear licensees are required to continue hearings and no right to conduct damage to the level of dismissing of these Congress or overturning the provisions specifically for licensing and mission licensing to consider it not permit everything that advanceable letters concerning strategy when every bankruptcy case did not licensing expanding original accusing reputation or overseeing laws or trademark. Licensees need certainty to enter into licensing agreements to involve certain court decisions. Ensures licensing agreements broadly as Jaworski 19. Mission focused on rejection of language statute of automatic with licensee do not have protection bankruptcy and from law design licensees will suffer damage and loss of wages closure business licensee relying on licensed on new markets would be unfair and discourage companies with licensing trademarks from owners of the possibility licensee could be terminated upon bankruptcy. The licensee do not enter non licensing courts until the final matter resolved to provide consistent rulings so that the uniform law will crumble and do not mention trademark which means that the open agriculture courts to the Congress intended rather than correctly and different apply to different results and sue causes injustice. Trademark licensees key globalization 2023. Global economy, business in multiple countries, production, licensing agreement, crucial for international markets, protecting the trademark, complicated about licensing trademarks, communities, being in loss, revenue, files, and protecting the ground for software companies expanding internationally becomes vulnerable, or similar trademark basis. Licensing help avoid these conflicts by providing protection, help generate revenue, and new markets without incurring costs. Globalization prevents extinction, that's Tom 16. Legalization will reduce interest in propping of global stability, dissemination of our ovens, and increase the cost of doing so. The military may revert to global diplomacy rather than engage in internal isolation to reverse American foreign and security policy and radical alter the national security, pressure mass migration, Russian expansion, China, surveillance, and SES. Agencies rapidly develop nuclear weapons to provide deterrence. Thus, plan Nancy for government should during its protection of intellectual property rights and trademarks regarding bankruptcy. Finally, solvency. The plan amendments Section 365 of James 20. Congress Amendment 36 to validate equitably deal with trademark license restriction and licensee leave the licensee with any rights and obligations for products already produced and control of quality can be applied predictably. That's best. The middle ground policy applying licensors to reject licenses set of right line rule as a result of making licensing and abandonment fears, while simultaneously establishing a clear standard for licensees to follow. That's James 20. Reject without fear licensed agencies or trademarks and does control for quality requirement and obligation to maintain quality or licensor controls quality of renewal claim and naked licensing licensors may use a relation prior to relief obligation on a contract licensee for the rights of business of other products have a public control requirement. This amendment in active right in the world does not raise the predictability and foreign travel concerns without leaving the balancing of the individual judges on relation to remain binding when equitable prevents licensor from using bankruptcy to unfairly take pressure on owners. The bargain away 264 will also guarantee the license for direct versions of contracts and good faith trademarks already included under bankruptcy law. This Part 20 of the statutory contract or IP for Section 101 and Section 365 applies equally. Do you want me to read it? Okay.
You good?
Yeah, let me just get some water.
Alright, cool.
Alright, I'm good.
Okay, so let's start with this unworkably vague plan text. USFG should strengthen its protection of IPR in trademarks regarding bankruptcy. How do you think that solves any of the
Yeah, well, we've read a bunch of solvency evidence that explains what the plan does. We would amend 360.
Wait, I mean, it doesn't just define, like, regarding bankruptcy. Like,
Well, like, we've identified that there's issues in trademark law and bankruptcy. The plan says that we should strengthen trademarks regarding bankruptcy. We have read solvency evidence explaining what that means.
okay, maybe, like, okay, let's...
Like, what about it
Let's
is
go to...
unclear?
Okay, so how do they determine whether someone is bankrupt?
Well, like, you would file for bankruptcy, and when that company files for bankruptcy, they would, like, there's a whole process that would happen.
So does the post-plan, does the licensor still have to, like, maintain use of the brand to maintain the trademark?
Our argument, no, because post-plan,
Okay.
the argument is that they would not have to maintain quality control requirements, but rather that the licensee needs to
Right.
maintain the QC
Okay,
requirements.
licensor not need to maintain the trademark. Now,
Right.
the licensor advantage. How does the app solve, like, naked licensing or abandonment?
Yeah, so our argument is that in the status quo, licensees are allowed to use the trademark without maintaining quality control requirements.
Okay, so does the app get rid of naked licensing? Or
No, that's not the argument. The plan makes it so that licensees post-plan have to maintain QC requirements, or else they're not allowed to use the trademark.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. But let's go through some of these internal links, starting first with the healthcare internal link. What evidence have you read that the plan or the lack of the plan collapses healthcare?
The Scotcher evidence.
Okay, this card literally says nothing. It says like names of logos have been secured through trademarks.
I disagree.
$40 billion. What evidence rises to the level of
Yeah.
collapsing the health?
I think our evidence establishes that hospitals, the healthcare industry broadly need trademarks in order to be able to sustain themselves.
I mean, your evidence says it's like $40 billion from a Google trademark, and that's not a healthcare trademark.
Well,
more importantly, like that's like a drop in the bucket in the healthcare industry. So
yeah,
I'll ask
the
again,
scattered
like,
evidence
how does
says
it
that
collapse
the
the
healthcare industry broadly needs trademarks in order to maintain themselves.
Okay, broadly, but you haven't read any evidence.
Like, what do you mean? Like this?
Like, I mean, you have not read any evidence that lack of the plan collapses the trademark.
I think that the
healthcare
scattered and coastal evidence established that. If you disagree, you can
Let's
make
go to
an
licensee advantage. I'm
Okay.
going to give you a chance to point out any evidence that you think you've read that is reverse causal.
like
on this
for
advantage.
globalization.
Yes.
Okay, like the Zhang evidence.
Okay, this card says that the globalized economy operates through a trademark licensing agreement. What evidence have you read that a lack of trademark licensing, or specifically the planned trademark licensing, causes globalization to collapse?
No, the Zhang evidence says that in order for companies to globalize and in order for international markets to exist, trademark protection must occur.
Like it says where similar trademarks already exist, they should avoid these types of conflicts through legal protection. Not that it would collapse.
What are you referring to?
I'm reading more.
What MC was sent 7 off, then advantage 1 and advantage 2. Let me know when everyone's good.
The 7.
Yeah.
So licensor and then licensee.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good, man.
Alright, sounds good. Everyone else good?
Give me a second.
Yeah. ALE.
Calamity K, extinction impacts us to genocide and personal calluses vote negative to reject the plans and aid attempt to permanently contain excess of Bush 21, excess that are incredibly high mass suffering, but not a human extinction document situation. Rescind this classification, genocide, world wars, enslavement, and COVID will not return existential terms, violent events of the past and present, not existential authority, territorial defenses, calluses, and sense of bar too high to use, will this model ignores the suffering on gives which their existential conditions at stake. These models will be endurable and rationalize the suffering of minorities, people, genocide, and plans sweeping of violence, does bear honor the existential conditions that humans can commit such acts indicates that nothing prevents humans from utterly destroying each other. The logical genocide qualifies extintionary because those who perpetrate them and remake the human condition in no sense and get everyone to shoot violence attempts to solve the expression once and for all institute control of the origin of genocide, building durable institutions and constructive worlds in common and aspiring to the long-term public goods and mitigate vulnerabilities of the humans. The following arguments are internally entrenched to their model, which prove even if we consider existential risks as important, their model is unsustainable and insolvent. T protection, interprotection of IPR requires safeguarding creations against unauthorized use. Sharifi 24. At core, IP protection refers to legal mechanisms that allow creators to safeguard creations from unauthorized use or exploitation. This spans all forms of IP, including patents, trademarks, or copyrights. If violation, the act only applies to authorized licenses that have already been distributed. Vote neg 1 limits their interpret blows the lid off the topic by including any app that changes the way that authorized use of IP is governed, from licensing terms to financial incentives for rights holders to contracts with third parties. It's a whole different IP topic, and neg prep is already unmatchable to the ground. Their interpretation is bidirectional. They can pay the license fees for any patent tech sharing, which makes patents bad part of affirmative ground and links to the most stable offense like cold calling agency. Trade-off DAs assume expanded enforcement against infringement. Next off is the necessity company. The United States federal government should find tortures public necessity, compels increasing bankruptcy, trademark protection, narrowing its intellectual property protection to exclude trademarks, applying the necessity doctrine to IP, solves and revitalizes pandemic response. Hello 21. Good to respond to the public health recovery and inflexible right to yield of troubling results for crisis protection to lead to overriding issues due to liability introduced unwilling to share. For fear of there is little and such that use of tech not occur to overturn the inability to meet the needs, worsening disease, IP keeps needs a flexible solution, accepting content for liability, social and balance, establish rights with access to protect them without permission toward destiny for this doctrine and other doctrines as destiny campuses. Next over eminence attached provides defense that shields any liability results in privilege IP law. Involve constantly judges deciding matters allow litigants to import doctrines from other law and doctrines later become incorporated into the statute. There are no doctrinal impediments. IPs can actually address deficits. Institution KM 21. Epidemics of human life, the sun, and the spread of diseases remain undiscovered. A simulation revealed the risk of diseases after all knows these lead to extinction numbers, frequently extinction of, and global risk of black death, the smallpox, and Ebola affect a large population. Risk increase with the mobility system will infect every person. Previous studies do not conduct quantitative assessment. We consider various disease characteristics results reveal extinction. T subsets protection of intellectual property requires protecting all forms of house. 88.
The term protection of intellectual property means a country provides means under its laws for persons to secure rights in all forms of intellectual property violation. DF does not strengthen the entire area. The term may prefer allowing minute tweaks to each topic area, exposes that topic to a tiny aspect. Don't even change the status quo. Ending, next off, speech and errors kind of plan. The United States federal government, change the text. The United States federal government should significantly strengthen intellectual property rights for brands regarding bankruptcy disputes via speech and error scheme for protecting intellectual property. The counterplan creates a bespoke legal category with identical protection and avoids uncertainty. That's the case. Gazeba 24. Certain subject matter cannot be protected by existing IP regimes. To be a balance between public access and providers' interest protection by a combination of standard regimes can make it difficult to determine rights as well as this. Just that courts choose the right they want, and although courts might not object to overlap, it is not clear to what extent a particular right should be enforced. Speech and error rights grant special legal protection rights emanate from inability to stretch existing IP rights. New things to speech and error rights makes copyright patent trademark principles. It would not be merely a derivative of standard IP. Speech and error rights ameliorate defects, prevent rewriting, encourage innovation, and improve the legal environment. Next off is the trademark trolls DA. They're toothless under current doctrine but can increase with new changes. For less 15, trademark law leads to change. Unfortunately, likely to change to do. Trademark trolling is not yet emerged in the U.S. So significant problem change in the law may lead to the development of an issue in the future. New trademark protections increases trolls who use trademarks to extract resources from larger firms. 515 trademark trolls smaller owners use weak marks to extract a settlement. Trademark trolls are a symptom of excessive trademark protection. Charts are sympathetic that create doctrines that are inconsistent with consumer protection. Specifically, they'll target small businesses with threats and litigations. Reese 23 small businesses targeted by IP trolls because they lack resources to navigate litigation. Suddenly, a trademark lawsuit can be expensive and time-consuming. Trolls use the threat to extract an exorbitant fee. Even if trolls trademark is to be a small business is high on empowering the economy. If not, 24 small business can be the foundation of the American economy. Small business qualifies 99.9% of all significant role in economic stability trend that remains in 2024. The impact is the case that economic collapse. Advantage to Canada. The United States federal government should require banks to have more equity. Band classification of assets as held to maturity. Factor in the level of uninsured deposits when assessing banks' deposits, insurance, fund fees. Promulgate rules that limit incentive-based executive compensation of banks. Implement a global biological materials management program. Substantial integration of scientific and biomedical expertise into intelligent efforts. Implement an operational no first use policy. Increase diplomatic and financial support for the UN, IMF, and UN. First bank, Sol's banks are elusive. 23. Banks should require banks have more equity. Banks should control their greater fraction of losses or increase self-insurance and reduce deposit bonds. Banks less fragile held to mature lead to excessive risk-taking. Accounting manager allow a bank to appear only when at risk. The FDIC should refactor insure deposit and assessing fees. Regulators should call back incentive-based competition. Better align incentives for bank managers. Second part solves Talon 07. U.S. must develop arguments to prevent use of bioweapons by jurisdictional comments by limiting opportunity to exploit new legitimate bioscience. New bio-threat reduction programs should focus on counter-terrorism engagement with the bioscience community. Community. The last part solves globalization. Advantage. 1. Real estate scenario starts at 0. There's zero link between real estate using trademarks and real estate trademarks and bankruptcy. It's not enough to say that real estate is defaulting when those defaults never include trademarks. 2. Chapter 11 is already doing what they say needs to be done to help the economy. That's their evidence inserted for reference. 3. Scratch card evidence is a suggestion to a business from a law firm, not a predictive measure. Inserted for reference. Hold the line on what is the evidence. 4. The warrant for black bank defaults is high rates, but rate cuts solved. Fitness 919. Fed slash rate by 50 offering relief to buyers and boosting bank stocks at the rate of fresh air for many banks to be easier to revitalize investor confidence. Regional banks are up 0.4%, especially noted easing should stabilize the sector, reduce the risk of defaults, and encourage lending expectation of further easing. 5 CMBS stops defaults from escalating economy. 12 debt or living over commercial real estate, but Goldman Sachs is about some problems with properties doesn't mean the asset has something wrong with it. We've find opportunities in CMBS so just by doing and limit commercial property to outperform investment grade corps to see your values. Their roster is positive on credit markets because there's still yield odds of restriction at 15%. And 6, no. Chapter 11 in healthcare now, lack of defaults among the hospital. 7, no. 0, internal links says they lead to brand destruction. 8, brands are key to healthcare. Pharma patents, doctor pay, and access all dump and make bioterror impossible or inevitable. 9, primary care can't stop advancing in engineered viruses. 10, lack of public funding thumbs. 17. Declining support for health preparedness puts against enough jeopardy. Funding decreased 40%. Effects are felt nationwide. Health departments make significant reduction in staff and preparedness activity. Cuts translate to decreased ability to mount effective response to diseases and terrorists. 11. The U.S. isn't key. They don't solve early detection or outbreaks in other countries that are more likely. 12. No retail. Nearly 13. If terrorists detonated a weapon, will the U.S. retaliate with a nuclear strike? Unlikely. Forensic takes any time or any responsibility would not be switched. It would be difficult to determine intentionally. Sponsored terrorism retail over unsecured materials would be disproportionate after outrage. U.S. would deploy forces increasing. Drone strikes. 13. Experts in control evidence agree. Let's know. 14. Bioterrorists amid leading experts believe the risk of large bioterror to be small. This is backed by historical evidence. Attempts for small scale knowledge and the resources necessary for scaling, storage, and dissemination present significant barriers. Medical countermeasures significantly blunt the impact. And 14. The plan can solve diseases or advantage 2. One, the licensing advantage is not inherent to or strike off disease defense, but not the bioterror defense from advantage 1. Advantage 2. One, licensing advantage is not inherent to Jaworski says that circuit split is what is causing uncertainty. That was before mission was ruled on by the Supreme Court. They resolved the circuit split that their Jaworski card says is the cause of uncertainty in the market now. 2, licenses need certainty to enter into licensing agreement. Jaworski and mission were focused on rejection. This licensing this statute is problematic because licensing not protection, bankruptcy, uniform law does not exist. A licensee will suffer damage and loss of wages, close their business. Licensee rely on license to enter new markets would be unfair to discourage company for licensed trademarks from owners of this responsibility. License could be terminated upon maximum. The license does not enter into the licensee. The courts are split. The result to matter to provide consistent rulings. Rulings 3. Globalization scenario is a reverse causal says that licensing matters for globalizing, not that it's key. 4. F doesn't hold the impacts. It's about military. It says other countries make it inevitable. And 5. Wishart is about global market distortion. 0 reasons why U.S. bankruptcy triggers it. Good for Cross.
Okay. Give me a sec. Back.
While we're waiting, can you just say like what cards you scratched on this page?
That's
Um,
Cross.
Okay, so
Send.
okay.
Yeah.
I guess you can answer that.
Yeah.
I just scratched the last analytic that you can't solve for other countries.
Okay, but all the other disease stuff.
The bioterror stuff applies.
Okay. So scratch the analytic for disease. Don't scratch anything else.
Defense of disease, right?
Or there wasn't defense on it. It was just bioterror.
Defense. You scratch for
Okay.
Okay, status of the op.
Conditional.
Okay, and then did you skip any op?
No.
Okay, any reasons to reject the team?
No hidden theory. We're not like that.
Okay, sure. The necessity counterplan, what does it compete off of?
Yeah, rights must be exclusive and they cannot have carve-outs. The counterplan creates a carve-out that in the case of public necessity, patent, trademark, or copyright can be infringed.
Okay, what would that case of public necessity?
So the way that the counterplan isolates it is that we've made a spillover claim that doing it over one section spills over to other IP, and then in cases of pandemics, pharma patents can be infringed if they are necessary for irreparable harm and necessity for the public to prevent a pandemic.
Okay, sure. Like, how would that apply in the context of the app, though?
Yeah, so we do a trademark, just that it's not exclusive and it can be infringed upon if public necessity deems it as
Okay,
such.
like, who, like, determines whether the public needs
The courts.
The courts?
Yeah.
Like, they can...
That's
it's like a
What is the
defense that it's like a
basis, like-
defense that people can take in the court. Like,
Okay,
right,
what
in
is
an
the-
infringement lawsuit, they can claim the new necessity defense as courts have introduced it as a new tort applying to IP.
Okay, sure. The trademark trolls DA, your FRI evidence says that, quote, trademark trolls are also a symptom of excessive trademark protection. Like, how is this not dumped by the status quo?
No, that is the link to the AF. It says it's a predictive claim saying that excessive trademark protection causes trademark trolls. And I'm going to read the most banger one in our card that says the AF specifically in the context of banks creates more trademark trolls. Well, that's why we ask you in 1AC
Okay,
process
how does
about
that,
the
like-
use
how does
requirement
that-
and naked licensing.
Okay, sure. How does that, like, nuke every small business in the economy?
Yeah, so our Reese evidence explains that they just take away those small businesses and remove their trademarks, making them pretty much
Okay,
like
can you
vulnerable.
explain, like, how a trademark troll would take advantage of the app?
Yeah, so they just trademark literally everything. You don't have to use the trademark, and there's no naked licensing requirement, which means that you can just trademark everything, and the small businesses will just be sued by
wait,
it.
wait.
How does the plan make it so you can trademark anything?
The licensor doesn't have to prove use or doesn't have to, go through the processes that
Wait,
they
what?
do.
What do you mean they don't have
When
to
you see
prove
cross-sex
use?
made it explicit. You
Okay,
remove
what
the
do you
use requirement
think
and
I
naked
said?
license.
For the
What do you think I
licensor,
said?
they don't have to
Yeah.
prove the use requirement. The licensee does.
So
But they
trademark
don't
trolls
license
will
it.
apply for trademarks, then they will just proliferate those, and then small businesses will apply to those licenses, and they'll have to pay tons of money to the trademark trolls.
Okay, sure. The advantage counterplan,
Yeah.
the diplomatic and financial support, like, claim, like, what is that?
Tons of money.
Just like, you
Just like lots of money.
Insane.
Starting. I say financial.
So 756.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's it. Sure. Right.
Wait.
OJ, stop. 3 seconds.
All right. So 752.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Is everyone good for moving? It's the licensor advantage, the licensee advantage, T subsets, T authorized, the advantage counterclaim, the slow down. The sui generis counterclaim, the necessity counterclaim, the trolls dissent, and the collective claim.
Underneath those second one.
Yep. It's the licensor advantage, the licensee advantage,
Yep.
T subsets,
Yep.
T authorized, or T protection, the advantage counterclaim, the sui generis counterclaim, the necessity counterclaim, trolls dissent, calamity code.
Make sure you're super loud in your speech because the order was like a little quiet.
Okay. Everyone looks good.
Yeah.
Syria collapse of healthcare failures depending on trademark rejection, otherwise causes great power access sector to C 1C1 is key to reorganization. All companies need licensing to sell the products, including all companies. 1C2 chose not key, it's not required, and the fact is they're focused now and it's so ineffective. 1C3 it's based on the suggestion due to heavy losses that were incurred in the past due to the failure of trademark reorganization because there were so many other licensees that needed to be canceled. 1C4 no, it's an all cause, and the red scroll solves evidence. This obviously doesn't matter if we win our internal to the 1C5 no, CMBS is ineffective because it doesn't assume that bankruptcies are currently occurring. All that matters is reorganization and the lack of dilution for trademarks because that's what incentivizes other investors to pick up the defunct product. 1C6 no, yes, Chapter 11 yes, Chapter 11 bankruptcies in healthcare, but to see all causes means that the counterplan definitely cannot solve for any of the disease warrants because they can't physically make more doctors. 1C7 brand destruction concede that as well, concede all of the volunteer stuff as well as the disease impacts, but also I'll make the argument for them. Disease in other countries means that they definitely can't solve licensing. Certainty and durability is key to licensing, especially in long-term contracts that strengthen globalized markets. Only clarify security of contract solves 1C1. Yes, it's key. Yes, it's key because we can't engage because it's under different codifications of trademarks, and that's key to globalization because otherwise they can't enter into international markets. 1C2, the app is what creates codification and it creates certainty because currently there's a discoherence for global multilateral partners. 1C3 it's reverse causal. Obviously, trade cannot occur if there are no licensed products being sold between countries, and that's the internal link for the affirmative. 1C4, yes, it causes SPO for it, and it's also a Greek argument because U.S. multilateralism is what stabilizes other nations, and the Wisher evidence just talks about hotspots in other regions that multilateral solves, proves globalization is key. T substance. We protect trademarks. E means within MBA 21. The preposition means a term within the place that follows to express relation across the close to by limit size in the room. Prefer A, Africa, tiny, fixed on beatable, 2 precision, prefer vertical in the context of law functional limits. Lit is tiny impact and sui generis core collage, object, recently equality pace, and after particularly T authorized. We mean Shafari says guarding against unauthorized usage, current usage of licensing agreements with health and use equality control under Chapter 11 bankruptcy is exactly what it describes. Also, the violation is incoherent. The app applies to current and future violations, but that's not their interpret anyways. We mean plain text in vacuum. Advantage counter. Perm to counterfeit obviously doesn't solve globalization. Trade is a key internally. No products is meaningless because even if we extend our hands over to the foreign products, there wouldn't be anything restraining conflict. And equity reform fails. Failure is currently occurring and collapse despite regulation proves that none of these are effective. Plus, it also doesn't solve with reorganization, which is the internal link to preventing economic collapse. Also, Cutting rates cannot solve one is property values. It won't recover fast enough to eliminate negative equity, which causes a risk of defaults regardless rate. Increases take time to affect the economy. That's a Barnes evidence. Also answers the 1C defense card. 2 is structural demand. No one wants office buildings because of remote work. Low rates cannot revive demand, which kills prices and pushes more towards default. It means that the market is extremely narrow and only organization can solve for all of these issues. The rejection is also specifically key. Underperforming locations is a financial burden which impedes organization independent of naked licensing. Risk that's a Wilton evidence, and quality control is key. The counterpart and lose the trademark as seen in 21. Give rise to consumer confusion. A source of good may be discerned after no longer supervise the license use violate the policy of trademark law. We do not public interest not being the origin and quality of goods. The sui generis counterpart. Perm plan. Perm, do the plan and counterplan over trademarks. He'll send it out, and it's legitimate because specificity is a digital function. At worst, counterplans must be textually and functionally competitive, key to tremendous objectivity, and anti-block recycling. Otherwise, kills outbound. Perm type of plan sequence following cannot solve for any of the or links to the net benefit by expanding IPR. One rejection marks are key. Advantages are about people who already have the trademarks. Create a new IPR machine will help companies going to bankruptcy with only a trademark. 2 certainties counterplan deficits. Perm 23 legal certainty exacerbated with respect to scope that subject to performance resources and intensive says slow. The evaluation of industry says future generous rights creates considerable costs that incurred in contrast to manage risk and to different application legal application still elected to sell right courts do not deem to exist, complicated exists, and that's key to the strategy of the reorganization, which forces them into decisions that delete their trademark or valuable resources necessary for reorganization. That's Clark and Gassimi evidence, and licensees as well. The mere potential that licensee rights could be terminated deters licensee agreements, which is key to solving the and also resulting in multilateral globalization agreements. That's Jaworski evidence. Perm to the plan that the plan should is future bound aid. Should look to the future, consider all possible effects. No evidence indicating Clark side exploration of litigation has zero impact. It does assume institutional capacity of bankruptcy courts, which is what the alpha occurs under nose over one instance of suit generis obviously doesn't lead to other authorities and no impact. They have a laundry list with words, but no words for any terminal necessity. Prem Depot, Prem Depot, intellectual property rights are inherently constrained by scopes of this rights faster capital 24. Assessing this guy intellectual property rights, how it's protected, and what are the limitations, exceptions to the scope of protection of X for protection, determined by class because for service X, protection of copyright determined by exceptions, and the perm.
Are we deleting?
Doesn't solve the counterplan fails. 1 licensee searching the mere potential licensee. Red's going to be terminated. Deters licensee agreement, which is key to international expansion and globalization. That's Jaworski. And Zane 2 is licensor certainty. Key to strategy of the debtor that's cross-applied from above 3 score application. Courts rely on predictable bright language as well as quality control requirements. This junction results in the same circuit split that exists now over bankruptcy cases, which destroys the organization through flip-flop applications. That's James. And also, public necessities, incoherent, and sparks taking clause litigation, Qual 13. Fifth Amendment requires just compensation, public necessity, defense should be rejected, tight time frame, and with Austria, 30% the rule of government, and planned delivery, inflection of heart, remains wrongfully if all alternatives are worse and could not solve. This magnifies all of the uncertainty alphas, which is specifically key to solve for both advantages, and statute trolls. Statutes reflected the courts with trademark enforcement of literary small business. Sign 23. Law firms increasingly use that schedule a different lawsuits that target online merchants and limiting trademark enforcement is having a deficit in fact a single lawsuit targeting after the sellers in a time can blow through business. U.S. District Court received 870 schedule A felons at 20 GA increase of 900% from 2013.
Go back to equities. Perm do the plan and counterplan over trademarks.
Equity. Perm do the plan and counterplan over trademarks. 81 sent that out. Back to tools. No link. Chapter 11 is a tiny subset of bankruptcy cases. U.S. courts 23 identifies only 6,000 cases out of over 200,000. And counterplan does not link it. It makes it harder to control because licensors can now terminate contracts with less ambiguity, which also means less suits independently. They don't even have to go to courts because it places all of the responsibility on the licensor and allows them to terminate independently as long as quality control is not met. Link term James 20 bankruptcy courts of Berlin rule makes it final inquiry sure creditors simply declare which products are already in possession and control for quality rejection. Status quo thumbs fires as excessive trademark protection triggers and cases are high now. U.S. courts 23. Bankruptcy rose 30% moderate rebound after dropping bankruptcy filings total of 433, 658 cases. The calamity kit. Framework with the applicants like a alternative. Anything else is not resolution risk, nukes, fairness, classic, extinction hours, irreversible event, and nice future value. They link perfect God. Institution to reject the team is hypocrisy and magnifies violence. Also, Kondo is a voter for strat and types of the alternative is dispelled link terms apps, critique no quality, strike shops that report quantity over health and perm to both all fields it's inevitable must be limited to domestic public actors. Anything else kills deficits and there's no way to change mindsets. Extinction is not white neutrality or savior, it's preventing access to risk, increase of vulnerability and relational formation. Goals 18. Receptivity, increase vulnerability, relational formation, and unexpected ways that makes difference as sometimes for some components are radical. We more democracy are probably sometimes call subjects. All people facing questions beyond the necessity collective for subjectivities and to root habits that such subjectivity. We do not live far from political collapse and chaos. Do not think questions or opposites about seasonal occupancy. It's always too late. So many at the same time retroactive force of Castrogos ignites parts never altogether too late. Back on necessity counterplan. A little bit.
Notes over zero evidence indicating IP application in bankruptcy spills over to biomedical technology. It just talks about how remediation in the instance of a crisis is key, but no evidence indicates that a crisis is currently ongoing, which means you should treat it as zero unless they prove that pandemics are coming in the future and that this is only to resolve it. And some exceptions exist in IPR now. Tons of examples indicate IPR is inherently malleable and based on a flexible codification of law. The Westwood Act as well as margin rights all prove that this is that exceptions already exist within the IPR cases.
I'm good.
Alright. Reasons to reject the team, condo, and then K theory. So is the only card in your 1AC that says bank collapses are coming now your 1AC Barnes evidence?
One second. Yeah.
Okay, so this was an article written 5 months ago by a writer at International Banker responding to interest rates that were changed. Why do you think this applies when the Fed cut rates like 2 days ago?
Well, I disagree with the characterization that one, it was solely due to rates, but also
Wait.
two,
Okay.
sure.
As today's sharply higher rates is placing immense strain. Like,
Sure.
Where do you think this card is making a holistic claim about banks and the economy that's not in response to rate hikes?
Yeah, sure. It talks about CRE loans. It talks about defaults of aggregate bank assets for global holdings within U.S. banks.
Okay, so can you tell me why those are under stress right now?
Yeah, because well, this is also established by the second advantage, but the basis of bank operations is based in investments and products. If those assets are not producing returns, if the margins are decreasing, then that means that those banks are placed under strain. And if their margins are not high enough, then they're forced to reorganize under Chapter 11 to be dissolved or to be absorbed by larger corporations. And that's why the app is key. It's not necessarily about one part of it is about preventing bankruptcies in the future, but more importantly, it prevents collapse and allows for reorganization.
Okay, I'm mainly concerned with the fact that the Fed cut rates 2 days ago. I want to read you a line from the card and tell me why this does not take it out. When interest rates were low, not a single bank would fail, even under our most pessimistic scenario. Why do you not think this takes such a turn?
Well, because it's not true. We could read more inherency evidence that's more recent. If you're correct that interest rates have been lowered within the past few months and that banks are still failing, then obviously we're correct on this issue.
The Steiner 23 evidence. What do you think? What do you think this evidence gets you? Where is it about the uniqueness on trademark controls? Why do you think this is about trademark trolls or non-practicing entities? Where do you think it even comes close to that claim?
It says that trademark enforcement is having a devastating effect on small businesses. What?
Where does it say that?
It says, dude, literally just read the first. A single lawsuit targeting hundreds of sellers at a time can obliterate their business. It said it's specifically about small business operations and the effect that trademark suits has on those businesses. I feel like it's pretty clear.
But where do you think it's talking about small businesses?
What? A single lawsuit targeting hundreds of sellers at a time can leave each seller owning hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. Even if you think that it's generally about businesses in general, the fact that they're able to target hundreds or thousands of sellers obviously includes small business. And the fact that they're able to take advantage of those lawsuits means that they're not going against Google. They're going against small businesses who can't handle the compensation or the legal costs involved.
Okay, so the AF applies only to violations. Is that your argument?
Well, the AF is a revision of Section 365 under Bankruptcy Code that stops current violations of quality control requirements.
10.
Thank you.
I'm going to move the relevant stuff into the exceptions. 7:25. I'll send it.
While they're gone, I'm gonna run to the bathroom.
I also was gonna go to the bathroom, so.
I already sent it off.
Would you stop for bed?
7:25.
Is Bryce writing a decision for the
I hope so.
Let's go, Bryce. Bryce, you better go next. You can pass me the stand.
Actually, you three can be a panel.
Okay.
The panel for Jim's decision.
Wait, that's easy.
2 out of 3 decides where it fits.
Can you work on me too, Zach?
I mean, Bryce, I need to take your phone.
Price lock in, bro.
Second conversation.
Sure you're not locked in? See, everyone else here is locked in.
Is he in the back? Sorry.
All good. Okay. Doc, sent, order. It's T. Necessity counter plan, or actually, yeah. T, the advantage counter plan, then the necessity counter plan, then the calamity K, the sui generis counter plan, advantage 1, advantage 2.
What's the one with specific?
Yeah. T, advantage counter plan, necessity counter plan, calamity K, sui generis counter plan, licensor advantage, licensee advantage.
And there's no cards for calamity and necessity, right?
Scroll through.
Okay.
Ever good?
Yeah.
The 2AC basically dropped topicality. They did not say crosstabs, reasonability, functional limits, or literally anything on this topicality flow. I'm extending this for the sole reason that they did that now. So when N makes new crosstabs and arguments, you will disallow them. Topical firmness must strengthen protection of IPR by safeguarding creators' rights against unauthorized use and reproduction of their works. That's Shafiri. The plan clearly violates because they disallowed the increase, or they allow authorizing trademark licensing by licensors. That adds at least extra T because it adjusts current licensing mechanisms by permitting the licensor to grant new licenses and authorizing new
new uses. Now they say that answers the first we meet argument, and they say there's no violation. Just to the app, their whole chapter 12 thing doesn't matter. When our things about granting new licenses, and they expand their authority to do that. They drop the limits in ground case. The arbitrator preserves any semblance of it for two reasons versus limits changing. The terms of authorization to use creative work is an entirely different IP topic. It deals with licensing terms, user fees, financial incentives, and a host of other mechanisms that are entirely divorced from the core of the topic question of how to safeguard intellectual property rights against copying and unauthorized reproduction. To his ground, they make patents bad topical by allowing the app to pay licensing fees for patents and encourage tech sharing. All neg ground is based off patents being bad, including clog, agency politics, econ links, bidirectional apps are nuclear for the neg, and have to outweigh app ground when the app only gets 3 topics, speak first and last, and break new apps every round. And the 2AC did not make any offensive arguments here. Now they say plain the vacuum, it's bad. Counter-interpretation, plain accent is clarified by and mediated by highlighted words, insolvency advocates, cross-ex answers, and positions taken by app speeches. Link turns objectivity. It is arbitrary to exclude the words that they have picked, and the alternatives far worse because the force of the two in RDBT and substance every debate. Functional limits are unwarranted in the 2AC. 2A innovation circumvents it if they cross-apply it. So is a reasonability completely unwarranted to, and the Peninsula has again given the most unwarranted Blippi 2AC on topicality I've ever seen in my debate career. Advantage counterclaim. Punished for Peninsula for reading evidence that is completely disregarded and disconnected from their non-existent internal links. The counterclaim solves it mandates the banks hold more equity, bans classifying assets and maturity factors at the level of insured deposits, and assesses banks' deposit insurance funds fees, and also promulgates rules that limit the incentive-based executive compensation of banks. That's the just look evidence. They say to both obviously links because it still does trademark protection. Do the counterclaim severs trademark protection, which is a voting issue for app shiftiness. They say they're extra to the code. This is no, actually that's necessity counterclaim. Yeah. Property values isn't responsive. The counterclaim solves negative equity by increasing the net equity of any bank. The structural demands warrant is responsive because they drop the deposits by assessing banks. Solve structural factors because the banks can reallocate where they move funding to. Now they say we don't solve globalization. They drop the planks that do solve globalization, including implementing diplomatic financial support for the UN, IMF, and UN, I guess that's twice. But that solves by providing huge incentives to sustain globalization because their internal link is not key. This is necessity counterclaim. Kick it, not going for it. Concede the firm, assess a competition. Okay. Reject the argument, that's not theory. Okay. Condo, we go what we did. 1 neg flex, capable counterclaims are key. IPR is nebulous and requiring multifaceted testing. Dissets are few and non unique. Apps and backlash often to the 2AC. Then they get a first house species, private advantages of vague plans. 2 is logic. Condo is an unpredictable, non-resolutional rule that denies the negative status quo, which should always remain a logical option. Arbitrary rules are worse than no rules along the after unilaterally reach all the bounds of every debate. Displacing substance. 3 innovation. Public tracks encourage new arc starting research. 4 info processing. Hard one and sees. 4 2AC efficiency and best answers. Fostering critical thinking. Now defense. CMU. 1 adequacy speaking of value to the strategic liabilities. 2 skew inevitable. T. Dissent speed highlighting framer case. The 2AC literally gave no warrants for Condo is bad. Also, reject this but 1. Definitional consensus. There is none. 2 force burn process. Counterflex. World peace flanks. 3 cannot tall flex. 2AC dictates the clock. Now, on sui generis. Concede the firm. Test the competition. Reject the argument. Not the team. Also takes out functional limits because we'll concede it doesn't compete. Licensor. The econ scenario is 0 except when it's 1. There's no internal link between the trademarks and the default. 0 first causal evidence and lack of warrant for why trademark protection means banks will default. They just send a tagline of the 1AC author, not a reason why that they overcome first causal reason or why all banks will have to default. Obviously, trademarks might help banks because they provide more connectivity or whatever between other banks and brand recognition. But brand recognition is in no way key to all bank securities. Now, 1AC2, it's not inherent. The Gilson evidence says that Chapter 11 is already boosting growth. Now, that's their only internal link. They say it's not required to get an organization of all companies. That doesn't matter because it's already being boosted now. Now, when it's 1AC4, bank defaults, no warrant is contingent on winning rates are high. The Fed will just cut them drastically and signal more cuts in the future, proven by cross-ex. When their only card says that rates the most recent rates card, that means defaults are unlikely because debt refinancing is easy with low rates. Now, the 2AC blew over this and cross-ex answered their pathetic response. Now, 1AC5, mortgage-backed securities solve it. They ensure the resilience in every commercial sector. Banks are strong device resist by real estate trust on A. 24 banks that income increase in the second quarter according to the quarterly report industry continue to show resilience. Asset quality measures remain favorable. Banks showing an increase in net income despite stress in commercial real estate. The 2AC, we're going to internally turn this scenario on the other. They say concede in the one in there, but they say CFAS doesn't assume bankruptcy. Obviously, it does. The whole purpose is to prevent bankruptcy, and they've conceded or the evidence that says it solves all bankruptcy. So the 2AC hold the line. They really did not give any warrants on why they solve anything. 2AC conceded defense on disease, whatever. Licensing.
Globalization is inevitable. Card 0 says that absent certain licensing agreements from the plan, all of globalization will collapse. It's not reverse causal. We'll obviously keep trading with other countries. There was one to see crossings. There's zero chance that this means that the Middle East war escalates, or any explanation of how this somehow spills over to prolif. Hold the line. The Treaty bullets past this. They say it's key to licensing communication between countries. Their card doesn't support this claim. While it might seem persuasive that businesses internationally need brand recognition, this happened for years before we had trademarks, and it's also done by every other trademark. Every other trademark is not threatened by the plan. Globalization is inevitable. Remember, 22 globalization is inevitable. Globalization is pronounced many times after 2000 after COVID. Globalization is not framing the economic data plus the notion. Globalization reversing cross-border investments continue to grow more plus the market rate corrected. The merchandising is near all-time high. New trade deals continue to emerge. Regional trade agreements continuously plateauing, and the global trade race is a side effect of development side of globalization success. And these trends constitute a disintegration or retraction of the data is a sign of progress. Their indicators are ineffective. Overall data demonstrates growth in globalization. Lentico 23. Some wonder whether we are witnessing the end of globalization. The primary data used one is slowing the total trade percentage of GDP trade. It's not a very useful indicator to critique globalization of money. Most of the decline in 2008 was due to China returning to normal trade levels and class. Binding and fuel prices of other economies experienced no such collapses. These data points reveal stagnation because of deglobalization. Inflation adjusted to record levels of 2022. The latest data that OTO global trade was well above 3 times levels of 2021. Other indicators reveal similar shrink. And the Panama Salt record tonnage U.S. ports broke over volume records. This is hardly the death of globalization. Globalization hit a high in 2022 despite global shocks near end. 24 globalization hit a record high in 2022, remaining close to that level despite global shocks over the past decade, including the pandemic, Ukraine, and Gaza. The evidence overlaps. The idea that global flows into the tide didn't reverse the trade and played a critical role in boosting connectedness and trade expected to accelerate in 2024. Therefore, is the most comprehensive available analysis of trajectory and globalization findings. Dispel the notion of globalization is reversing this. It's considerable potential for to continue growing global flows. I'm gonna read more. Probably.
Do you just want to start the
Yeah.
idea?
Yeah, I'm just reading this.
Okay, I got something.
I got stuff too. There's stuff to say. I'll read your stuff then. Trademark trolls overwhelm small businesses. Trademarks are key to overall strategy and flexibility. Once 19 small businesses are the backbone of the U.S. economy. 99.9% of small businesses, every major company, 2 million jobs are reducing costs of trademark protection boosts that create more flexibility and promise to have to answer the critical question of costs are often unclear. The trademark issues could reveal the camel's back new business a few thousand, making a huge difference. Small business future is one important component. Would be the small business and not the trademark troll. These best would be most of the small business cannot bear. It's catastrophic. Falcon. The 18 trademark trolling going to be catastrophic. Startups do not have the legal resources to combat litigation, of course, to allow trademark trolls to bully them.
Yeah,
Finish the card. Governor will send out the cards. We also, I guess, in the morning sent out pretty soon. I'm good for process.
We'll just wait for this.
Sure.
Okay.
What did my flip?
Oh, no,
It's mystery.
I didn't take a look. I found it. Don't worry, guys. I'm good.
Oh, can you send the card?
I sent it.
He sent it.
Okay, are you good?
Yeah.
So, for Santi, what's like a case list?
I guess any app that would restrict the unauthorized use of patents, copyrights, or trademarks. So probably the e-commerce app if it would restrict the use of trademarks if they did not apply contributory liability.
And this is from the
Our app
perspective of
probably.
the
Actually, the
creator?
trademark.
Or no?
Yeah, the trademark brand owner has to restrict the use of unauthorized
I
trademarks.
guess I still don't get it. What's the violation?
The violation is the app provides an avenue for authorized use via allowing the licensor to not,
Like, that clearly allows rejection of licensees that don't allow for quality control.
No, you allow it, but it's extra to you, right?
All of the 1AC said rejection.
No. Like the point is that licensors can now have to go through the same use requirements and can permit new licenses based off a lack of existing use requirements.
Where do you think the one?
So like before, in the status quo, right? Before a licensor or an owner of a trademark can apply for or send out licenses to other companies, they have to meet certain use requirements. The plan gets rid of those, allowing more authorized use of these patents or these trademarks. Right?
That's argument? Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Let's go on the advantage capital. How does improvements in equity and threshold requirements help
Because
bankrupt?
when
like
banks-
how
yeah.
banks have to currently reorganize.
Well, banks no longer have as much loan insecurity when they have more equity and more leverage over investors. More importantly, though, is that your internal links are about like negative equity, and if the counterplan increases the net equity of each individual bank by basically the government
I don't
increasing
think
the bailouts.
that answers the question.
That's
Like,
false.
I was asking like how these reforms help banks that are currently reorganizing or entering Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
Yeah, like they don't. It solves the impact of that, I guess, right? Like they can't default on their debt if they have more. They've provided more equity in government bills.
How can they pull equity out of thin air? They are zero.
No, the
on
government
capital.
bails them out.
The government bails them out.
Yes.
The government pumps money into failing companies.
Yeah, on
Okay,
the,
sure.
but yeah, it
That's
also provides multiple other like more
let's
secure
go to the
methods of
license.
finance.
Let's go to the licensing advantage.
Mhm.
Chapter 11 boosting growth now, like Gilson says, that's with like trademark protections helping with reorganizing. Why is this like a neg argument?
Well, because it's happening now. Like, there's no increased need for trademark protections under Chapter 11 because it's already there's enough and sufficient trademark protection without needing to abolish the use requirements for the licensor.
So like no dilution now.
Yeah,
What evidence indicates this?
I mean the highlight of your 1 and C.
The re-highlight says that Chapter 11 is currently occurring with trademark 8, and then we've read additional evidence that says that trademarks are currently getting diluted.
Yeah, like I
What
don't care. Like
evidence is
you've like Frankenstein together a scenario based off one that certainly goes neg that says that Chapter 11 requirements are sufficient now, and then sure, I guess you've read another card that it's hurting, but like your core internal link about
Well,
trademarks.
how do you
is neg.
reconcile the two? I don't
No,
think
no,
it's
the
frank-
core internal link that is about trademarks is neg.
Why?
The Gilson card. What do you mean why? Like I read your card again. Like it's already boosting growth now. To re-highlight.
Okay, I'm sending out the webinar. It's just the trademark control DA, and then, or it's trademark controls DA and then the advantage kind of thing.
Yeah. Good call.
We're gonna take like a second. I want us to know what it is.
I already gave the.
Sorry?
Okay, what?
Are we not allowed?
I gave the order already.
I don't know what the rule is.
Oh.
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. You can take
Okay. It doesn't. It just. Alright, we use 20 seconds.
How much do you have left?
7:34.
7:32.
At 33.
Okay.
Right in the middle. I don't actually have the one in our document.
Yeah, I just sent it.
Oh, I see.
Oh wait, how much do you have left?
17.
725. Should I start with calamity, say reject the Argon for
723, calamity, and then time.
I can't remember if I said that. Okay. Good measure.
Everyone good?
No. Just trolls, right?
Yeah. Or K trolls counterfront. You good?
Yeah.
Calamity conceded the protest competition. Reasons reject the argument, not the team. It was never perfcon. They conceded the 1 and C preamp that says it's proof of serial policy failure under their model. DA. We've straight turned the case. 1 and C Wishart says that economic decline causes conflict initiation and global hotspots leading to escalation. There's 100% risk of this impact scenario. Just a question of who has the better internal link turns. Case trolls take down pharmaceutical giants. Weighing 15 fields are honest rules. Trademark and various systems for harness time like Pfizer can be taken down by trademark trolls. Damage could be with hundreds of millions, and there are no effective trademarks under the world of the plan because trolls overwhelm and take away the effectiveness of those trademark trolls. Look, the 2AC here was a mess. They read their core clog answers and against a DA about trademark protection. So you should highly air that because all of our evidence cites trademark trolls and none of theirs does. Trademark trolls load. Now, individual cases may exist, but they don't present a problem to the system broadly because of legal doctrines. That's 1 and C Maryland. Inserted for reference. The threat is minimal. The 20. Pandemics percent indication to stand in the way the threat posed by many of these trolls is minimal. Takes out the case just as much as it takes out the DA. If they're right that trademark trolls are abundant in the SQO, then they prevent companies from registering licenses. That makes solving for banks impossible because no one can get those trademarks in the first place. It links to the case more than the DA. Small businesses are high now, which means that new trolls tip them over the edge by overwhelming them with litigation and demands. Our uniqueness proves they can handle any trolls that exist now. Air nag in Maryland 15. There is little discussion or reporting concerning trademark trolls. Their generic evidence doesn't cut it. The trademark trolls are unique and operate differently compared to their core plug. Answer: Steiner never says that litigation overwhelms small businesses. 1 and C, if not, says that small businesses are powering the economy, and Post states their evidence for a year. Small businesses are formation now, since in 24. U.S. experience urban small business information research. Work found best years for small business information. 17 million businesses founded during research and administration. Small person considered via flat for decades. Congress passed 7 bills that included favorable new rules such as ARP. Americans with dreams fail an opportunity to take risks. People have incredible motivation. Rate cuts hope. The 24 Fed rate cut promotes small businesses. Lower interest rates mean small businesses find it more affordable to lend. Or a cut of 50 points. It's a first reduction since FOMC. CLOG isn't enough to tip small businesses over, but the plan is trolls take out small businesses by demanding large settlements with the threat of exorbitant fees. Even if these claims are weak, small businesses believe in them. Giving trolls leverage. That's Reese inserted for reference. Even if litigation has no merit, the cost of proving that takes small businesses out of business. Falcon 18. Receiving cease and desist may not be conserving if allegation is no merit. It poses problems. Startups that proving accusation can be start as high as hundreds of thousands, fees as high to put them out of business before take off. There's no answer how to ease concern of the trademark troll. Air neg BB 19 for small businesses is too much. Small businesses make a decision based on limited resources. They're not able to engage in these processes. 2 and C kind of plan. The cards in the 2 and C also apply here. The plan increases trademark trolls. 1 is leverage. New trademark protections increase the ability of trolls to leverage and access marks over small businesses. Trolls will hold it over small businesses' heads to extract payments or otherwise force them into litigation battles. As 1 and C Fry inserted for reference. It's not dumped. It's a predictive claim of the spoil conceded. The trolls are low now because of doctrine, which means that even if thumpers are wrong, the link turn makes no sense. If the trademark troll becomes a licensor, then they hold immense power over small businesses, and the plan gives it to them. The trolls know how to navigate litigation strategies way better than small businesses, which means that they're able to dupe them. No means requires the plan to be the greatest possible protection that can be nationally given them. Hold them to the ambiguous language of their plan text. Bolin 87. In the Land Home Act Committee stated when protection of trademarks is to prevent misrepresentation and its deception, a sound public policy requires a trademark should receive nationally the greatest protection that can be given. 2. Modifying the use requirement causes a flood of trolls that file for trademarks without using them. Guys, 16. Drop the requirement for use in trademark, creating a spike in trademark trolls who register unused trademarks to pressure companies to pay up to release trademarks for actual use. 3. In particular, the only barrier in the squad of trademark trolls from taking bankrupt trademarks is the use requirement and the naked licensing requirement. That is what the 1EC removes. That turns the case. Bankrupt businesses will sell their assets even before they revitalize productivity, which makes their collapse inevitable. Near list 15. Common tax items to require from bankrupt firms trolls to obtain for low cost and then use those to hold up other firms. The use requirement and naked licensing prohibit the enforcement of marks occurred in the bankruptcy sale. Troll would have to also require the underlying goodwill and need to continue the use and mark to use the mark in commerce. Troll have a period of time during which it only retain rights. Only our offense. Shoot 19. Higher measures for trademark protection are excessive to holders cause problems with fairness, equitability, and rule of law. James Lincoln 1, it's not about practicing entities. 2, it's not about clog in the courts, but if they are right that court clog is high, then small businesses can manage it high now, but practicing entities tip them over the edge. I'm just going to read more small businesses key to the economy to frame the internal link term. Small business, or actually, I'm going to do no impact to quality controls, bailout sold.
Objection not.
And rejection is not key. Obviously, we've re-highlighted the 1EC evidence, and we sufficiently solved the case, which means the counterpoint solves. Go back to
I'll also say judge kick.
Oh, and judge kick if they win it, it's a logical extension of conduct. Yeah. Small businesses are key to the economy. Hassan, in the 24 small businesses fortified by economic foundation, U.S. acting as catalyst for job creation, innovation, social mobility, adaptability, drive prosperity, even uncertain. Small businesses represent a significant portion of overall job growth. Scarcity of financial resources poses hurdle. They'll dominate. They dominate GDP. BA 20. 99% of all businesses or small businesses keeps the American economy functioning. Creates 2/3 of job for a new job. 43.5% of the United States GDP. Small businesses lead the way. Innovations produce 16 times more new patents. Market patents.
Yeah, 733 has pretended count.
Me's 5. So that means we have 1.
213.
Yeah. Good. I'm sending out like or a few checks. Our Dropbox is not syncing, sorry. Where's this at? Okay. Never mind. Again, can you send out your cards and then I'll just send mine out? Okay, we're sending out 2 docs. Oh boy. Sorry, Jim.
But they also include analytics. So. Good stuff.
Which doc is going to be read first?
Just okay, mine.
Okay, give me a sec to like. We're gonna. I'm gonna combine them if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did you get it?
Let me know when y'all are good.
I got one called like 2AC settings.
I got 1 AR 8.
Okay. My word might or my email might
I also just got 1 AR 8.
I got 1 AR 8 too.
You didn't get my doc?
Maybe. I guess not.
Okay. Let me try to send it. Alright. I resent it. Oh wait, I attached it to the wrong. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Open up my login.
Okay, I got send.
Okay, the order is going to be the licensor's advantage, the licensee's advantage, topicality, the advantage current plan, and the small business DA.
Where are the cards in the second doc gonna be? Sorry.
My doc. It's
Yeah.
only on small business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And which one is advantage 1?
Licensor.
Licensor, okay.
Okay.
1, 2, T.
Yep.
Controls. Counterclaim controls. Okay.
Okay.
We both agree that clocks out ways it erodes guardrails and conflict initiation, creating the perception of Western power vacuum that revisionist leaders used to escalating global hotspots that goes nuclear. That's shared evidence now. QNC1 is wrong. There's a reverse causal warrant. The plan helps pull companies out of bankruptcy, which solves for defaults, and companies can pay back inherency. Inherency is also wrong. Yes, it says that Chapter 11 is good, but our argument is that the SQO is ruining Chapter 11's ability to do the current faulty bankrupt law, which the plan solves. Rates are high. Rates are high. Low does not matter. Even if it makes refinancing easier, companies who are bankrupt are unable to reorganize at all because of the bankruptcy law and the status quo. Which means that absent the plan, it doesn't matter if giving back money is slightly easier because it is literally impossible for companies to recover from bankruptcy at all. Now, the mortgage argument also doesn't matter. Only we have the most recent evidence that massive defaults are coming now, which is the 1NC evidence. Now, reject the SANA evidence. It's wrong. It doesn't assume massive waves of defaults. That will come soon absent efficient Chapter 11 organization. Their evidence assumes that Chapter 11 will be efficient for the remaining future. But our argument is that it needs to be amended, which the plan definitely solves solves for by allowing for licensors to reject burdens and contracts and being able to reorganize under Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Now the disease argument, we kicked it into Tracy, so it obviously doesn't matter now. The licensees advantage globalization solves extinction collapse, upends global civilian, causes flashpoints to go nuclear. That's Hamas evidence. Inevitable and high now is wrong. Trademarks are key to all companies, so it'll collapse soon absent the app. Their uniqueness doesn't price in our argument. Now the topicality argument. Their interpretation is that we have to protect against unauthorized use. That is exactly what the plan does. You should punish Russell for copy pasting his blocks against Greenhill's copyright act without any contextualization. In the status quo, because of ambiguity in court decisions, licensees are able to continue using trademarks even if they don't maintain quality control requirements. The app reverses that and makes it so that licensors now ban that unauthorized use, which is what their interpretation says topical apps must do. Russell's explanation also makes literally no sense. Allowing for more authorized use may be an effect of the plan, but the mandate of the plan and what it makes it topical is the rejection of unauthorized licensee use, which means that after this debate you have no explanation for how we violate this topicality interpretation. Now the advantage counter plan top level is that none of the planks except compensation solves for current bank defaults, means that if you're certain that the first advantage is about reorganization instead of future defaults, then none of the portions are solved, and hold MBA to 2NC contextualization of the compensation plank in crossings and 1 and C. It's the government giving tons and tons of money to boost private equity until the threshold rises above their debts. Multiple Ds versus massive fiscal strain. Fluctuations in government rates and taxes result in uncertainty, causes hesitation from investors due to a perception of inflated assets that contain artificial value due to government intervention. Too, it also causes solvency runs. As June 23, occurrence of solvency runs occurring in asset values coupled with targeted losses can entirely negate the benefits of deposit franchisees being susceptible to solvency. Those cause bank failure is June 23. The CRE is while uninsured depositors withdraw their funds under 85 banks with failed to discharge assets pattern in addition to 70-99 banks with assets facing solvency. Such scenario. Now bailouts are bad. First is structural demand. No one wants office buildings because of remote work. Low rates cannot revive demand, which kills prices and pushes more towards defaulting. That's Barnes evidence whose bailouts fail. The next will collapse the economy. That's Cochrane 24. Massive institutional failure, 20 million bailouts were larger than no way. The simplest markets failed in the approach of allowing bailouts to is due to bailouts require resources coming from issued debt or money. Inflation, limited fiscal capacity lead to bailout led to inflation. So one is a paper 5 trillion, mark the Carter trillion. Now the small businesses DA. Small businesses are obliterated by trademark law in the status quo. Steiner says that trademark enforcement now is having a devastating effect that is obliterating their business. Their index of the Steiner evidence are obviously wrong. It says that all businesses right now are being nuked by trademark law, which means that even if they win their uniqueness claim, small businesses are doing good now in terms of the broad economy. It doesn't matter, and it only just proves that trademark enforcement doesn't matter because they're doing good despite just getting nuked in the status quo. The Lee evidence is too old. Prefer our more recent evidence. The Morales evidence is also irrelevant because we are also the ones that saying trademark controls are high now. The margins argument is small margins argument is also wrong. It's just one person testifying that small businesses have limited resources, but there's no reason to plan tips that over the edge. SED suits are ending small sellers. As under 20 SED losses are abusive IP litigation about rights and weapon legal system. Small businesses are literally out of business when they get there. Accounts for free rights are not going after big players who are like defend after going after small players who have no means of defending. There are 88% of all trademark cases which are nuking small businesses. Well, in Roll 23 and famous are applying their trademark docket of certain district courts of plaintiffs today virtually every time the success has led to the wrong increased number of case by law. 88% of trademark cases feel hard against sexually defendants and firms and other jurisdictions that have started bringing in these cases. Now, the plan does not increase the litigation for multiple warrants. First, it deterrents the ability for licensors to cancel licensing contracts following a lack of quality control. Means it reduces costs upon litigation and deterrents frivolous use of a trademark. Two, this process always occur after a small business fails. First, advantage about reorganization of large banking sectors. Three, trademark controls doesn't matter and are illogical in the context of small businesses, brands, and better products. Then, trademark it for the app is about licensing violations and contractual obligations, not punitive measures. Now, the normal means argument is wrong. Having strong protection doesn't increase trolls, and it's just a description of the Lanham Act. The use requirement is also wrong because the plan doesn't modify it and also goes the other way.
Yeah. We had
23.
yeah 17. Yeah, 17.
Trolls, counter plan, 1-2. Alright. We're good.
The streets are not waste Peninsula's lost when they're severely lacking evidence on the link level that small businesses are key to the economy and power economic growth that's key to preventing the return link as a better internal link and as at least means you can vote a presumption the terminal is conceded so we don't need to win. That's the scenario always case because you know it's the only thing that causes extinction of trademark trolls are not existent in the scope of the plan. Creates some link turns. The link turns the case of frames the scenario. The plan hurts bankrupt businesses more than it helps them by removing naked licensing requirements and the in-use requirements to drop links out of the 1 and R. The plan emboldens trademark trolls to seize the trademarks of bankrupt businesses. Drop link turns can never outweigh drop links. When Morella says that those are the only barriers to the status quo preventing it, and when he cross-exams proves that the plan causes it, this frames their offense. Even if they prove that trademarks are key to bankrupt businesses, those businesses sell them to trademark trolls because those trolls offer immense rewards that outweighs the enduring cost of building up their businesses. Once it's in the hands of those trolls, they'll abuse it by leveraging the doctrines of equitability and enduring the cost of building up their businesses. Once that's the Shuge evidence. The risk that we're right outweighs the risk that we're wrong. If the plan increases some trademark trolls, then there's a high risk that causes their scenario in ours, which means that the link is the first thing you have to evaluate in this debate. Now, the 1AR cards are bad. They don't attune the status quo. Uniqueness is high now, and small businesses are succeeding to the formation and ability to take risks. Rate cuts bolster productivity and spurred investment in small businesses. That's hope. Uniqueness frames the SAD lawsuits argument. Small businesses are doing fine now, but the plan tips them over the desk. They can handle lawsuits, but the coupled with trademark trolls, they will be over. Their cards are over a year old and are not citing any statistics. It's also about e-commerce, which does not assume all trademarks. Tuisi and 1AR Signer are not about trademarks broadly, which means that the brick and mortar small businesses are doing just fine. It's also citing some professor's draft paper, not any statistics. 1AR Swendelo is about 88% of cases in the district court for Illinois. It's also biased by lawyers in Illinois trying to invite more businesses to move to their state. If the 2R pivots to the push of the fact that small businesses are resilient, they dropped 5 cards that trademark trolls are the death of small businesses. Air Nag, our evidence says, cites the best experts and explains that not litigation and leverage trademark trolls over small businesses. That makes small businesses pay trolls and have to go out no business. That's Falcone, Beebe, and Williams. Our evidence is from a congressional attorney, and it's much better than theirs. Now, they say deterrence is not, the plan does not deter them if they get rid of the naked licensing requirements. That means that it invites licensors to the NPEs as licensors to just buy as many as possible because they don't have to prove anything in order to sustain their license. It might deter some licensees, but our internal link is about NPEs seizing control of the licensors themselves. Now, they say it's procedural that it fails after businesses. That's wrong. They create. Actually, no. This card doesn't assume the magnitude of our length. The plan vagueness makes the normal means you should assume normal means is the largest possible trademark protection as per the 1 hour millennial card. Because every instance of trademark protection they will cause more as well as new of trolls. The 1EC cross is clear. They did not identify a bright line for how their plan takes leads to their advantages or anything. So you should hold the line on new tree extrapolation. They say trolls are logical. This argument is unwarranted in the 1 AR, and we're reading evidence that says that cites the statistics says that trolls will increase absent trademark protection because they always do. It's not thumped by the status quo because we've read evidence that trolls are down, small businesses are up, which all provides uniqueness for our scenario. They're not now they do create small businesses and innovation. They're creating mobility within the economy. That's Hassan, and they're the basis of GDP and dictate where, how, and why it goes places. That's the BA evidence. Even if they haven't been high in the past, they're powering the economy now, which is what their evidence does assume. Case. Or advantage counterclaim, kick it, not going for it. Eventual. Peninsula's internal links are strung together like a kindergarten art project with very little necessity for the trademark protection. We're straight turning the advantage on the distat. So if I win some risk that the small solves the YAF, you can vote in our presumption because there's only a risk that the link makes it worse. Now, the YAF lacks an internal link between trademarks and defaults. Aiden asserts that they can pull out of bankruptcy but does not give a warrant. Obviously, if there's a lack of private equity, investors can't overcome that by just reestablishing brands that already suck because they're bankrupt. Regardless, there's no bank collapse now. They're winning this supercharged the distat is an independent inherency valid multiple warrants that the 1 AR drops. One is mortgage-backed securities. They're unambiguously solved. Debt and commercial real estate credit markets are high, and commercial property and debt is outperforming investment grade corporates. From this year, that's Crombie. 2 is rates. They were cut after the app's internal links. It substantially lowers the barrier for refinancing. It means specifically for small businesses that they can bounce back from bankruptcy. That fits me. The 1 AR pivot to no reorganization is answered by our evidence. It's not just large ones, but regional banks were up 4.4% this year. The Whitehall card in the 1EC says that IP is consequential, not the threshold for its scenario of the internal link. The chapter 11 distinction goes neg because their evidence is descriptive of the current provisions helping growth. Now, advantage 2, it's really bad, and the 1 AR is extremely light here. Globalization is overwhelmingly scenario. The 1 AR concedes that their evidence is not reverse causal, so even if trademarks help, they're not key. Read their evidence if you need to. Regardless, they drop past empirics like COVID bounce back, and empirics prove that there's no retrenchment. We'll never pull out of NATO just because we can't trademark certain things, even if and trademarks have existed before. That's that's the primary evidence and the Lincoln evidence. Both are dropped. They also drop an index to their indicators that says they're based on bias, and there's the people have always said we're deglobalizing with that have all been wrong. They're not calculating things right. That's the Lincoln evidence. Look. Extremely low risk of case, any risk of dissatisfaction.
Talk about 214.
213, according to 212, according to the
Well, I actually had 213.
Okay, 213 stuff. Just keep doing video game. If that's then it's okay. Is everyone good for a minute? It's going to be the licensor advantage, the advantage counterclaim, then the choice design.
Bank failures are the status quo. Clarification of trademark exceptions is only what to say for reorganizing companies. Dilution in the status quo results in lowering trademark values and results in lack of investment from large parties that leads to abandonment and naked licensing. Only through a line for licensure rejection can quality control requirements be upheld and the value of brands be preserved. Otherwise, $2.5 trillion in assets vanish overnight. CRE collapses on the horizon extremely fast. Results in spillover effects due to the very concept of asset loading from banks. Means that even if you're certain that efforts to solve this is currently occurring in the status quo, it just takes one failure of one single large bank to trigger internal link and turn their small businesses are extremely reliant upon startup capital as well as loans from banks. You know this for a fact. And the failure of a single bank takes growth and capacity, which triggers their internal link and directly turns it. They only had two pieces of defense on the stage. First was mortgaging requirements. Obviously, this does not solve. They dropped every single one for why loaning and licensing and securities and mortgages do not work on the advantage counterclaim. All of this was conceded as per the TRO, which means that you're certain that currently these banks possess negative equity. They have literally no capital in order to secure more mortgages or invest for the future. So you know that there's no means for recovery on that page. The second thing was that rates solve for this. They also dropped two cards on this issue. Government loaning might be effective in the short term, but it results in long-term stresses that collapse banks because there's no way banks can ever recover from the extremely high overall quantity of rates and loans that are occurring from the government because they're not going to give out free money and interest rates even if they are being lowered don't matter because it's due to lowering demand as well as other structural causes that cause these banks to fail. Even if you're certain that rates don't even exist and it's set at zero, it does not matter because there are other sources of negative equity. That means that these banks are all going to collapse inevitably. The fact is, if you're searching on the rates question, it also hypercharges all for solvency offense because it proves that IP reorganization is the only way to maintain the intrinsic value of banks and prevent collapse because otherwise it results in over-dependency on loans and that's what causes insured long-term failure, proving that the math
is way more proximate. I did the advantage counterclaim stuff on the flow. I'll go to the next slide.
Uniqueness heavily flips affirmative in this debate. If you win that current trademark law is devastating small business in the status quo, then it also disproves the link argument because it means that no matter what changes the app does to trademark law, that it will have no negative effect on small sellers that they have said are key to the economy. This does not take out the case because statutes are specifically about small sellers that they have isolated as a key internal link, but the app is about large organization and reorganization of banks, which means there is no sort of we link back ballot. We are definitely right on this uniqueness question. The 2C standard evidence says that there's a devastating effect that statutes are obliterating their businesses. The one Steiner evidence then goes on to further substantiate the claim that says that small businesses are already massively going out of business now. Sweetlow says that it's increasing rapidly in the status quo, which is more of a reason to defer affirmative on this question. They could be right that small businesses are economically strong now, but they're unsustainable. And the fact is, statutes are always going to hit them suddenly and without any predictions. It doesn't matter because it doesn't matter that it applies to commercial courts or about e-commerce. None of that matters because the fact is they've read evidence indicating that the amount of businesses is going up, but not evidence that these businesses are strong or held in tandem, which means that you're certain that in the status quo, statutes can hit anyone at random, and that results in the collapse of that direct company and means that small businesses are terminally unsustainable. That just means that our uniqueness arguments also disprove the link because it means that despite these massive suits, small businesses are still flourishing in the status quo or that they're already being taken out. Either way, zero's the link because it proves that the ability for any trademark troll to send out hundreds of thousands of suits to any type of small business has not taken them out of business or has already doomed them and perpetually to going out of business. Either way, obviously a change in bankruptcy does not overwhelm this number because it's a single change that occurs after bankruptcy occurs. I still can't explain to you why the trademark trolls would somehow increase in quantity or the volume of suits after the plan happens. Again, the entirety of the plan is about how trademark dilution is a bad thing. Dilution fundamentally means that the number and the value of trademarks that are currently held by small businesses or any owner is going down. It's only through that process that these different trolls are able to afford the licenses and then force other people to violate and then send suits out to other actors. So if we're correct on the issue that the app prevents trademark dilution, then it means that these trademarks will still be held by the original owners because they perceive a potential value in the future, and that's what leads to actual competent and credible investors for buying those trademarks as opposed to trademark trolls. But independently, they still have not answered the argument that this is a process that occurs after bankruptcy. We've made the argument that small businesses are not able to reorganize. It's usually mom and pop businesses that have no value in their assets or in their trademarks, which means that there's no reason for trademark trolls to ever purchase these licenses because there's no reason why they're key to being profitable. applicable. Normal means argument is definitely wrong. The bullet evidence is a description of the Langham Act, which is not the act. It says that trademarks should receive the greatest protection that they could be given. This is obviously zero risk because there's no reason why the plan has to be that, and no reason why it necessarily leads to more suits. Links about dropping the use is also wrong. The one explicitly said this has nothing to do with half. The half is in fact the opposite, directly dropping the strict use requirement so that licensees have to meet the requirement of quality control independently. All of the link work done below can be zero, and you still vote affirmative because they've also dropped the argument that the act pertains to licensing contracts, which are not punitive in nature, which means that they cannot garner any profits from small businesses, but just force them not to use the license anymore. Bottom level, vote F. CRE class now.
Good.